Hello everyone, welcome to the Zoology Girl channel. I am your host Straw Baby, and we're gonna do another thing of me drawing again while telling you guys random stories and stuff, because I've noticed that this little subreddit has become kind of popular called r/storiesaboutkevin. Kevin being a very stupid person, and I kind of have my own Kevin stories. However, they're not what you'd expect, because instead of being a person, it's about the peacocks that I worked with at my zoo, because we had free-roaming peacocks, and the thing about them was they were all named Kevin, and they got up to some really dumb stuff. So I'm gonna tell you guys the stories of things that have happened while I was working in the zoo regarding them. Let's get started, okay? Well, I should preface something, is that the reason why all the peacocks were named Kevin is because, well, it became kind of a tradition when, after the movie Up came out, because none of the peacocks would ever respond to a name, the people at the zoo just decided to name them all after the bird Kevin, because they are extremely goofy like him. So now that that's out of the way, I'll get started with the stories. So these birds would get into everything and anything they could, especially around mid-June, and they especially liked getting into this little splash pad area. It's this place with a lot of like ground fountains where people will go to cool off and stuff like that, and it's got a bunch of like marine animal statues, like there's puffins and there's sea lions and there's a few killer whales and that sort of thing. And I don't know why, but they just really like trying to make this area their territory. One particular, he would be there like every single morning, so that when I was on splash pad duty, I would have to get a push broom and just try to gently nudge him out of there, not touching him, but just like brushing a spot next to where he was standing. And one morning, he decided he really didn't want to leave, and the best way to express that was to put up his tail feathers and try to flirt with me. Yeah. That didn't work, and I kept pushing him towards the exit. Eventually he gave up, but he was like almost to the exit before he finally put down his tail feathers, like, fine, I guess I'll go then. And then for the rest of the day, he kept trying to sneak in, and he would continuously do that throughout the summer. Like, every morning we'd have to chase him out. I'm surprised he didn't just get smart enough to stand on top of one of the whale statues so we couldn't get to him, but he's a Kevin, so. And then another thing, well, I wasn't here for this. I always hear stories about how the peacocks would get into the bear exhibit. We no longer have bears. Well, we have one, we've got a sloth bear, but we used to have these like open top bear pits where we'd have like 3 different bears, and for some reason the peacocks like sitting on top of the edge of the bear's enclosure, like on the cliff edges that surrounded it, and screaming at the bears and just trying to annoy them. And sometimes they would go down and try and steal their food if they had fruit and stuff like that, and somehow they never died. I have no idea how that came to be, that they just managed to never get hurt, but that was something that happened. I also have no idea why they were over there, because the tigers were like right next to it. You think that they know what tigers are, you think that would scare them off, but no, it never did. These birds have no idea what fear is, and they just do whatever the heck they want. And then another story that happened while I was at the splash pad again is that we also have a carousel that's right by the splash pad, and we have to open it up every morning. And apparently, as they were opening it up, like a team of 3 Kevins got inside it, and they held up the carousel for peanuts. They would not leave until someone gave them food. We couldn't get rid of them. We couldn't forcibly remove them because none of us were zookeepers, and we couldn't start the ride while they were still on it for safety reasons. And so we just had to sit and wait until someone got the smart idea to take out a bag of peanuts. So now, you shouldn't be giving them food, but they'll steal whatever they want. I've seen them take French fries from little kids' hands before and like make a trail of peanuts leading away from the carousel, and that's what finally got them to leave. It took them like an hour past when they were supposed to be open to finally get the peacocks out of there. So yeah, that was an interesting morning. Just the standoff between the rides people and the peacocks. A lot of my peacock stories are kind of just more on the one sentence side though, like one like to sit up in a tree all the time and just scream at anyone who got close enough to him. For some reason, he decided he was going to scream at me through the entirety of my lunch break because I was just too close to his tree, and it was his tree. And then there's another one, just one that liked to sneak up behind people and honk at them. There was these two poor old ladies who got honked at one time. That's all he does. He just sneaks up, screams at them, and then runs away. And he did that to me too once. Little bastard. And then there was one that just like screaming at the tram every time it passed by, or at the carousel. When the dragon mount on the carousel would go by it, it would just... Honestly, they're really silly little things, but I think, at least most recently, the interesting thing that happened was there was one that kept trying to sneak into the aviary. Now, these guys are free-roaming peacocks, but we also have an aviary, and there was one who kept hanging out by where the zookeepers would go into the aviary to feed the birds. I guess he thought he could get free food, but I just don't know what these guys' idea would be, is they just would get stuck inside there if they got inside there ever, so I guess good thing that they didn't, because we actually have like bird-proof doors. They've got like the chains in front of them to make sure birds couldn't get out, so it was just kind of silly in that regard. Oh, and then the other thing is there was one that kept stealing fish food from the koi pond bridge. We had this koi pond bridge with dispensers of fish food that you could pop a quarter in and like get a handful of fish food. And there was one that towards the end of summer, because he couldn't find popcorn because fewer people were coming, he decided he was going to start stealing the fish food. Like as soon as someone cranked a dial, and it turned out into their hands, and if they dropped anything, he'd just zoom in from where he was hiding behind a post of the bridge and, like, eat up all the food. Yeah, he is a little character like that. And sometimes if you threw it, he'd try and grab it before it hit the water. Yeah, these birds are just absolute spoiled brats, and sometimes they will actually refuse the healthy foods that zookeepers get them because they're just so addicted to popcorn and fish food and crap like that. One of them actually started screaming at me like a toddler when I picked up a bag of animal cracker cookies that it was trying to get at. It just started screaming at me like this angry little toddler because I refused to let him eat the animal crackers. And then he stalked me for the rest of the afternoon because he could tell the animal crackers were still in my trash bag. Yeah, those are my Kevin stories. I hope you enjoyed them. Let me know if you guys want to do this again soon. Alright, thanks. Have a great day.